your personality lends itself to meeting people where they are, and then you're able to cut through all the weeds and get right to what their real problem is, and then give them one or two things to solve it. And other people can't do that.
Hi, I'm Ellory Wells, and I am just like you. A few years ago, I was working at my dream job, making lots of money, doing something that I loved, and really enjoying life. And then something happened. The company I was working for started to make changes I didn't agree with. And over time, I found a friend become an adversary, and then eventually my boss. And I was fired from my job where I was highly successful. And that's okay, because a few years earlier, I started my blog and a podcast, and I began building a business and reputation online. Now I help aspiring entrepreneurs become actual entrepreneurs. Never again do I want you to have to go back to a workplace you don't love and an environment that makes you sick to your stomach. This is the Ellory Wells Show, and here we talk about all sorts of things. Things like books, everyday entrepreneurship, how you can build a business that makes you happy, makes you proud, and allows you to live the life that you want to live. I'm your host, Ellory Wells. Thanks for tuning in. I know you're going to have an awesome time.
Ellory Wells' experience, expertise, and enthusiasm has helped me create several platforms to speak directly to my audience, including 3 podcasts and a website that I absolutely love. Hey friends, this is Rocco DeLeo, host of the And Dad Makes 7 podcast. You can find me at roccodeleo.com. Working with Ellory has given me so much confidence I never would have had. In fact, my wife and I recently decided to build a business, and we never would have done this without Ellory's help. And the other thing, he's just an all-around great guy.
And since this is episode number 1, I want to come right out of the gate with one of the best tips that I have for helping you stay connected. It's something that I call Project Never Eat Alone. Now, if you've heard of Keith Ferrazzi's book, I think it was probably a bestseller at some point, but he wrote a book called Never Eat Alone. And as I was reading that book and eating alone at the same time, I was beginning to think of some of the ways that I've been able to stay connected with friends, with audience members, things like that. And there's a part of the book, it's chapter 7 called Do Your Homework. And he opens the chapter by saying, whom you meet, how you meet them, and what they think of you afterward should not be left to chance. And the whole chapter is about connecting. And there's a couple things that I want to share with you that will really help you increase the level of success that you're currently having. It'll help you plan for the future and build a solid network of people. And here we're not talking about coaching or masterminds, the people that you talk to, on a regular basis and bare your soul to necessarily, but I'm going to show you an exercise that will help you identify people who could be your potential clients, who can help you get where you're going, and also people who you can help them get where they're going, and maybe you can walk on that journey together. So I'm going to open my notebook up here, as you guys may or may not know, or you will soon see. I keep a notebook here of ideas and everything. So what you want to do is get out a piece of paper, or if you have a notebook where you journal and do all those kinds of things, I want you to get that out. And while you're doing that, I want to tell you a piece of software that I want you to use with this. It's not critical that you use Asana, ASANA.com, Asana, but it's a tool that I use. It helps me keep track of all kinds of things. But if you don't have an account with them, we're going to want to set one of those up. But on the piece of paper, I want you to write out 3 columns. I want you to divide the paper into thirds. It can be columns, rows, whatever. And on column 1, on the far left, I want you to write a list of people who can help you. Those are the people who can help you get where you are going. In the middle column, I want you to write people who I can help. People that your expertise will help them achieve their goals. You can help them be more organized, more productive, help them grow in their leadership, whatever it is. That the people who you can help, that goes in the middle column. And in the right column, I want you to write potential clients, because as you guys know, this is a business, right? So you've got to pay the bills. And honestly, if you're providing value to people, they'll want to pay you for it. I mean, it's like that delicious steak. I mean, yeah, it's okay if it's free, but you'll pay that extra amount to get something extra special, extra delicious that you can't get anywhere else. And that's what we want to put in this column. And honestly, these people can be in more than one column. I'm looking at my list right here, and I've got people, the ones that I can help are also a little bit of an overlap with potential clients. The potential clients list is the smallest one, but that might be because I need to spend more time thinking about it. But again, left column, people who can help you get where you're going. Middle column, people who you can help get where they are going. And number 3, we're going to put potential clients. And if you have more than one service, put a little note or a letter or something that you can go back and remember. I've got a C for coaching, M for mastermind, maybe M for membership, something or something like that, just so that you can glance at that list and know what type of client they were. So here's where Asana comes in. One of the things that we are often bad at, even when we have really good intentions, and maybe I shouldn't say maybe it's more of an Ellory deficiency, but one of the things that I'm somewhat bad at, or have been historically bad at, is follow-up. People, not only for sales, hey, you mentioned you want to buy this, are you still interested, those kinds of follow-ups, but I'm also bad at following up with friends. How many people did you know from high school or college where you were good friends, and you could have stayed good friends, assuming your interest didn't go otherwise or whatever, but you could have stayed friends if the follow-up had been a little bit better. And I'm not throwing any blame on anybody, but this is something that I, again, am admittedly bad at. So I came up with a cheat, and I'll show you another cheat here in just a second that's somewhat related, but not really. But we're going to log into your Asana account. And what we call these, and why it's called Projects Never Eat Alone, is, well, Asana divides things into projects. So it fit, and it actually had a practical purpose too. But we're going to go to a new project, and you're going to title it Never Eat Alone. And once you get into that project, I want you to create a task for every single person that's on that list. The people who can help you get where you're going, the people who you can help them get where they are going, and the potential client list. So once you pull up that task, and again, you may want to pause and create that account, because the next couple of maybe minutes or so are going to be somewhat detailed and specifically related to Asana. If you want to use a different program, it's completely fine. I don't have an affiliation with Asana. I've been using them for actually about a year, but some of this stuff will make more sense. So once you go in there and you create a new task and you click on it, over on the right side of the screen here, I'm looking at my screen, so I'm seeing detailed information here. You can assign each thing if you have more than one team, if you have some VAs, or if it's just yourself. You want to assign that to yourself. And then to the right of that, you're going to want to pick a due date. And what we just want to do here, Monday through Friday. You could do Saturday and Sunday, but if you're wanting to do this as part of your work, my suggestion would be Monday through Friday. Saturdays and Sundays, that's kid time, wife time, family time. So even though you're friends, I try to keep it during the week. So you pick the day of the week, and then you go down to you can leave the due time off, but you want to click the button that says repeat. Okay, so once you click on the repeat or recurring, let's do repeat periodically. There's a never daily, periodically, weekly, monthly, yearly. So you can choose any one of those options. Here's why I do periodically. If you do every 2 weeks, it's Tuesday on the dot. What we want to do is, if you do periodically and then you choose an interval, I do 2 weeks, I do 14 days. That means after I mark this task complete, it will remind me to do it 2 weeks after that. So it's not a set Tuesday. You know, if someone reached out to you every single Tuesday at 10 o'clock, it might get a little bit weird. They might think something's up. But I just put the name of those people as the task, and this will send me a reminder either through the app on my phone, or you can set up an automation with And if this, then that recipe, or a Zapier recipe to send you notifications, add it to your calendar. Actually, Asana will connect to a Google Calendar and add it right there so you can get reminders and everything. But what you want to do, and this is what I've done, is set a reminder to just reach out to Bob and Desmond and John and Mario and Tamara and Jason and Amanda and all these people that are on your list. When you meet somebody at a conference, hopefully they will be in one of these 3 columns. If you're asked to be on a podcast episode, or you meet someone at a coffee shop, put them in one of these 3 columns. You might want to have a 4th column, and it's the people that you don't talk to anymore or something like that. Quality Network is about subtraction as much as it is addition, but you want to add these people. So, and just a reminder, and it's not I don't want you to do this as a way of automating any sort of connection. I don't send them an email or a text message the exact same way, the exact same time every single week. This is just a reminder that says, hey, you might want to reach out to your buddy Catalyst John and say hello, see how he's doing. Maybe the person asked you to keep in touch with him and help them stay accountable, or maybe you just want to see how they're doing in their life. And that's what I would suggest. Don't make this one of those weird networking things, marketing things. If you have these people on your list, make it a genuine curiosity and interest in their well-being. This is Project Never Eat Alone, and maybe your project will have a slightly different name, but everyone who is on my list, everyone who has a task inside of Project Never Eat Alone for me, is someone who I have a genuine interest in seeing them succeed. People are going to see past this veil of interest if it's not genuine. So, just an idea. Make sure it's something that you will pay attention to. If you're not using Asana, that's fine. I just like Asana because you can either set it to 9 a.m. on Tuesdays, or you can set it like I mentioned before, the periodical setting, to where it will remind you to check back in 2 weeks after you checked in the last time, after it was marked complete. And then once you've called them, once you've emailed them or Facebook messaged them, you just click the little check mark button, and 2 weeks after that you get a reminder to connect with them. And I have built some really great friendships with this, and again, it's not some automated thing. I do all the work manually. I go in and message them, type in unique message, all those kinds of things. But just by regular communication, think about your kids or your best friend or your spouse, and if you only talk to them every 3rd week or something like that. This just establishes regular contact and regular connection with people who can help you get where you are going, and people who, again, you can help them get where they're going, and people who are potential clients. Because again, when they're ready to buy is not necessarily when you are ready to sell or when you need to make a sale. And by staying on their radar and just getting these contact points, these touch points over a longer period of time, they're going to realize that you actually do care, and you when you see their name or their face, you don't just see dollar signs. So that's Project Never Eat Alone. And I mentioned that I was going to share with you another kind of cheat that's related but not related. So if you go into your if this then that recipe and go to create a recipe. So if this, when we're going to select a date, and I'll tell you, you'll begin to see what this will do here in just a second. But we're going to go to create a new recipe, and we're going to find the one. Let's see, I'm going to search calendar here. No, don't search calendar. Search for date, and you'll get the little black icon with the hour on hand, and it looks like it's 3 o'clock. So we're going to click on that, and we are going to send every year on, and you get to pick a date. And I want you to put in there, well, you can test it with your birthday or anniversary first. So you go in there, and I would put in August 20, I'm going to go in and put August 29th. And I'm going to sit in this mid-morning. Don't want to wake up anybody in the middle of the night or give them some weird thing. So I'm going to choose a 10 o'clock in the morning. Actually, I'm going to choose a 9. Let's go 9:30. And we're going to go to create trigger. So every year on August 29th at 9:30 a.m., what do I want it to do? if you have an Android device, this will work. If you don't have an Android device, Apple might have something either coming out by the time you listen to this, or you might have to do a Facebook message or send an email or something like that. But on my Android device, I go to Android SMS, and I'm going to go to send an SMS, and you can choose the phone number that is your phone number to test it out. Use your phone number to test it out and see if you like it. And then in the message, just say, happy birthday. How many times do you send a happy birthday text? And here's a key tip for you that I've found over time is if you want to sound less robotic and you want to sound like your email, like your autoresponders and those kinds of things, if you want to make them sound more personal, go shorter. Because whenever you're going to type an email, it's probably, hey, what's going on? What's going on for lunch? What are you going to do? Those kinds of things. The same thing would go for your message here. And this is a text message from you. People are going to reply back to it. I get a reply back every year from people who don't even know that this is an automated thing. But it's kind of a crappy cheat, but it helps me stay in contact with people on their birthday that I really want to stay in contact with. I'm going to text them anyway. So why risk the chance of forgetting? So in the message, if it's a guy, I usually say, hey man, just wanted to say happy birthday, or hey man, happy birthday. Or if it's a girl, I wouldn't say hey man, I would probably just say happy birthday, something very short, and then you just hit create action. And that way you can stay in contact with these people on a yearly basis for their birthday. I don't have this set up for my wife, but I've got it set up for probably 10 to 12 different friends around the country, and it's a great way to stay connected. So if you're looking at Project Never Eat Alone, you've got your 3 columns, you've got your tasks, you've got reminders, and you just reach out to these people. And this is stuff that you can do every single day to begin your skyrocketing of your success. One of my best friends, he has told me more than once he loves me like a brother, and it's just because I genuinely care for this guy, but I stay in contact with him. It's regular communication, regular checking in, helping him stay accountable, asking him what he needs, how I can help him, just how's the weather, those constant touch points. And that's how you can really begin to develop and cultivate your network. And that's, again, something that you can do every single day.
Hi, this is Rusty Pang, and I live in Glen Burnie, Maryland. I met Ellory at the Thrive Conference in Las Vegas. The first thing I think about when I think about Ellory is that he is a wealth of knowledge. Any questions you ask, he's willing to answer. And not only that, he's going to supply you with a ton of resources. There is no doubt in my mind that he is going to blow up soon. So connect with Ellory Wells and get all the knowledge that you can get.
As we begin wrapping up today, I want to give you an outlook of what my plan is for the show. And if I haven't mentioned it enough, this show is for you. My goal is to help you, the listener, achieve your goals, see the success that you want to see, and whatever shape that takes, that's up to you. But whatever obstacles are in your way, I want to help you get them out of your way. We can work through them, over them, around them, whatever it is. And let me just share with you what my vision is for the show and how I will practically give you the tactics that go along with the overall strategy to help you be successful. So my vision for this show is to have segments. Instead of just a normal pre-roll, advertisement, interview, post-roll, those kinds of things, that's a great format. But I didn't feel like it was for me. I wanted to have some more flexibility with the vision that I had for the show. And this is something that I have really planned out, you guys. If you have ever listened to the Empowered podcast, which was my prior show, we ran over 100 episodes of fantastic content, had tens of thousands of downloads, listeners around the world. I started that podcast without much of a plan. I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but I pieced it together as as I went along, had a lot of success. But with this show, with the Ellory Wells Show, I have been debating and planning and working through a process for, let's see, as of right now, about 3.5 months. So I just want to share my vision with you. I'd love to get your feedback and continued support and listening. And again, I'm not going to beg you for ratings and reviews. If you like this in the direction that we are going together, you and I, it's a journey together, not just me. But if you like the way that we're going, just share it with somebody. Just tell somebody, ElloryWells.com/show. And people can just start listening right there. So that's all you got to know, ElloryWells.com/show. So here are the segments that I am piecing together. I'm developing content for each one of these, and some of them have more than others at this point. This is just some transparent behind-the-scenes look at the Ellory Wells Show. Right now I've got 10 segments, and not every episode is going to have all 10. No episode is actually going to have all 10 segments, but I'm going to pick 2, 3, or 4 that circle around a specific dedicated theme for each episode. But in no particular order, here's what we've got. A book section, a section about exit strategy, which is also my book, but I want to talk about specific things that can help you develop your strategy and map that out. I'm working on a section that I'm not quite ready to reveal yet. I don't know what it'll look like, but it's going to be somewhat fun and random and maybe a little bit of a crazy thing. Not to be confused with a section about fun stuff. This was when I pitched this idea for the show to my mastermind, they said, "Oh, you need a section for just fun things." So I don't have a clear idea on what that one is. But here's something that I'm very, very excited about, and that's a coaching call section. So if you want to apply for this, stick around. I'm developing the content for this, but this is a coaching call section. A lot of the reason why podcasts with a interview formula are so popular is because you get to dig deep into somebody's business. You get to learn about them. If you have submitted questions for those, you could get your question answered, or you have the host who you would listen to ask really great questions. So we're taking that, but instead of experts, instead of people who have $1 million businesses, 6-figure businesses, all of those things that are literally flooding iTunes and Stitcher and the podcast market right now, we're going to target people just like you and me who are in the building stages of our business. So these coaching calls are going to be with people who are either right at the edge of generating revenue, or they are making money. They are, making hundreds or thousands of dollars a month, so that you, the listeners, so you get the benefit of that interview, because I've done over 100 interviews. I've been interviewed dozens of times. So the level of information from an interview perspective will be there. Plus the guest, instead of just sharing their knowledge about their business, their area of expertise with you, they will get some coaching from me during that episode. It'll be a relatively raw and uncut look at a coaching session. These people will volunteer, they will apply for this, and I'm not going to dupe them. I'm not going to say, "Oh, this is a great call. How about we turn this into a podcast episode?" I've heard people have done that before. I don't want to do that. I want to be upfront, and this is going to be a transparent look at what those coaching calls are. We're going to define coaching, and you will get to listen and experience what a coaching call with me is like. So you will get to see that. They will get help for their business. I will get to showcase my talents as a coach. And if you think I can help you in some way get your business off the ground, built, or started, this will be a way for you to see that, okay, Ellory either does know what he's talking about, or maybe I should move on and look for somebody else. I'm really excited about that. I've gotten some fantastic feedback about the coaching call segment. We've got a section called Everyday Entrepreneurship, which is where we talked about just a couple minutes ago about Project Never Eat Alone, just things that you can do on a day-to-day basis that will help you build your business. It's the slight edge principle. It's about the little things that lead to big results down the road. We've got a section about tools, what I use, what I recommend, things that you can submit and get a review of whatever that plugin is, or something like that for WordPress. Just whenever you get into building your business, you're going to come across things that you need, and how will you figure out what the best tools are? That's what we're going to talk about there. Just a quick example. One of my coaching clients, not for the show here, but one of my coaching clients is working on a membership site, and we're talking about what to do, how to protect your content, those kinds of things. But the idea is to just share tools that will help people in their business. Then we're going to have a section called "This is a Business." And it's about the administrative side of things, and it won't be quite maybe as sexy as some of the other ones, but that's what it takes to build a business. That's why it's called This is a Business. Things like budgeting, tax decisions, discussions, those kinds of things, how to use a tax return. When you're setting up a business, do I need an LLC or a DBA or a corp? What do those things look like whenever we're to say, oh, build your business, start a business? Well, what does that actually mean? That's what we're going to talk about in that segment. We're going to look at things that are working now for me and that I see around. Again, this was a segment that was suggested by my current mastermind members. They wanted to know this from me. What are services that I'm using? What are strategies that I'm using? Social, how to do interviews, how to find mentors, what kind of conferences to attend, those kinds of things. That's a segment called What's Working Now. And then I forgot this one, but I think this one will be one of my favorites. And this is one where I need your help. It's one where I think it could hopefully really benefit you as the listener. It's a community questions. I've already got a list. I've been collecting questions from listeners and blog readers for quite some time. And, for example, one is about webinars. Amy, for example, has asked, what service do you use? What sign up forms? How do I connect people to my email list? Corey asks questions about affiliate marketing. I've got questions about membership sites and landing pages, email marketing, those kinds of things. And that's going to go directly in there. That community Q&A are questions that are submitted from you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you right there. When you have a question and you would like to know what I use, recommend, or possibly suggest that you avoid, because there's a lot of tools out there. Sometimes you need to stay away from certain ones. Those community questions are coming directly from listeners to the show, readers of the blog, and those kinds of things. So that's an outlook of the 10 sections that I plan on pulling pieces from for every single episode. Yes, there will be interviews. Yes, there will be coaching calls. Yes, there will be practical things. There will be inspiration and motivation and all of those kinds of things. But the overall tone that I want to set with the show is I'm here to help you. As I mentioned before, I don't want you to have to go to a job or any environment one more day than you absolutely have to, one of those environments that make you sick. And I'll give you just some background on why I feel that way. Right now I'm recording in the same home office that I used to come to whenever I worked. I won't mention their name at this particular moment, but for a very large IT company in corporate America. I used to work from home Tuesdays and Thursdays, and every Tuesday and Thursday, I would get knots in my stomach every time I walked through the door that I'm pointing at and looking at right now, and just dread logging into my computer and seeing emails, tasks, things from management that I just had no heart for anymore. I just couldn't take it, and I would just get nauseous. My blood pressure was through the roof. I just wasn't healthy. I was stressed out all the time. And that kind of feeling, if you can relate to that right now, you got to listen to this show. You got to go over to episode 2 and you got to listen. You got to subscribe to the blog. You've got to do the ratings and reviews in iTunes so that I know there are people out there listening. If you can relate to what I just described, you are perfect for me. I mean, we are a match made in heaven. I mean, you're who I want to help. I mean, at the end of the day is I want to help people in the podcast. I see this as a way that I can do that. Over the next few episodes here at the beginning of the show, we're going to talk more about my vision. I know people are wondering why I started with the Ellory Wells Show, why I didn't go with something else, maybe more SEO friendly or whatever you're thinking right now, why I didn't go with something like that, why I'm changing the format of my show, why I canceled one and started up a new one instead of just tweaking that one. There's a lot of questions. If you haven't checked out the Empowered Podcast, 100 plus episodes of fantastic content, you could probably skip the first 10 because I lacked the experience and I dove right in, which I would suggest that you do. But the last 50 episodes are just really great, not just because of me and the effort that I put into it, but really I had some fantastic, wonderful guests and had a lot of wonderful experiences that I was able to talk about on the podcast. So check that out. Go to empoweredpodcast.com if you want to. And if you want to find all the notes, stay tuned to all of the things going on with the Ellory Wells Show and reach out and say hello or apply for one of these coaching calls that we have on the air. Go to ellorywells.com/show. I'm your host, Ellory Wells. I'm just like you. I'm an entrepreneur working it out. I'm trying to make this thing called entrepreneurship and business ownership happen. And this show, the Ellory Wells Show, is about actual entrepreneurs sharing actionable content and advice that can help you build your business. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have an awesome week.